Okay, hello, everybody, and welcome to our team Zoom with Miss Ellen Winn. She's our speaker tonight, our team leader, and super excited that she is joining us tonight. And I'm glad that you guys are all joining us as well. But my name is Harlequin Murray, and I'm your co-host this evening. And I just wanted to welcome all of the new people that are coming in tonight, and glad you could join us and glad you could join the team. But anyways, for those of you who are new, just a little bit about Ellen and where she comes from and what she brings to the table. She is originally from Dallas, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta. She grew up on her family's farm out there. And that's where she currently resides as well. But anyways, in between times, she worked in the restaurant industry for about 25 years. And there's my message saying that we're live on Zoom. Thanks, Ellen. But anyways, she worked in the restaurant industry for 25 years. For several of those years, she worked with Domino's Pizza. She was a corporate trainer for them and a regional manager, and she decided to leave corporate America and started up her own pizza restaurant, had a couple of locations with that. And she ended up, she's been a business owner ever since. That was, 20 plus years ago, I believe she said. But I met her about 17, 18 years ago now. She was working in the network marketing industry, and she was actually the national trainer for that company, and she was one of my upline. But anyways, I've known Ellen for years now. She's got a wonderful heart. She loves training people, helping people. And she's built huge organizations with thousands of people in several different companies. But within DAC, she is the highest, or one of the highest ranking agents, probably the highest one out in the field. But she is at the rank of area director on the DAC comp plan and 1-star executive with the longevity comp plan. So for those of you who don't know what that means, watch video number 3 in your Agent Resource Center, and it will explain all of that to you. But anyways, without further ado, let me have Miss Ellen Winn take it over. Go ahead, Ellen.
Thank you, Harlequin. I always appreciate that warm introduction. And man, when you talk about how long ago it was when we met, I think how quickly time flies. And you know, we wouldn't know each other if it weren't for this wonderful industry of being able to work from home in the direct selling, network marketing space. So I'm very appreciative of that. I appreciate your friendship, and I appreciate what you bring to the team, helping me co-host these Zooms every week, and the leadership that you provide to your organization. Harlequin has been Agent of the Month many times with DAC, and she has one of the largest and fastest growing teams inside of my entire organization. So real proud to have her here tonight. And as she said, if you're new, thank you for showing up. We appreciate you saying yes to DAC, and we want to welcome you to the team. We do these Zooms every Monday, and this gives you a platform to get to know who we are as your team leads, and have direct access to us, not just on Monday nights, but if you're actively working the business and you're actively plugging into the training and working towards growing a business, then I'm here to help support you along the way. But I always kick off these calls on Monday with a team recognition slide. So I'm going to get into slide share mode and get that kicked off as we normally do. Are you seeing the DAC to the rescue? All right, awesome. All right, so I changed this slide up a little bit. It used to be the top recruiter slide, but as you see, that's that Superman or Wonder Woman pulling back that superhero shirt of DAC underneath your regular day-to-day gear. So wanted to just change up what I say on this slide, because really that's what we are. We're here to the rescue. And what we're going to go through first is our top recruiters. Every week we go through who is sharing the message about DAC and the agent opportunity. You see, our business is a word of mouth business. DAC has chosen to spend every bit of their what would be marketing dollars in paying us in a really nice compensation plan for getting out and sharing the word about DAC services or funding and new services coming on board. We're going to talk about one of those in depth tonight. So if you don't have pen and paper already, go ahead and grab pen and paper because you're going to want to take some notes. I'm going to talk about planning for what is coming and what you need to be doing in your own little personal game plan to be able to maximize this new product that's coming to the table, hopefully as early as this week. Okay. So we start out with the top recruiters. Those of you that are sharing the word about DAC, thank you. And we're going to go through the leaderboard for October the 3rd through October the 9th, just ended up yesterday's week. In first place, we had a two-way tie with Lavonda Goodman and Eric Johnson, each having 5 new recruits for that week. In second place, we had a three-way tie, each with 4 new agents. We had Carl Mondesur, Katina Willis, and myself, 4 agents each. In third place, we had a two-way tie with 3 agents each, Lillian Blackshear and Omar Moody. And in fourth place, we had a 4-way tie, each with 2 new agent recruits, and that's Maria Love Wesley, Latoya Porter, Teresa Robinson, and Nesthia Steyer. And I hope I got that name right. So congratulations to all of you that made the leaderboard. Now, we had a total of 43 people last week who had at least 1 new recruit. So there were many more that had 1 recruit that didn't make the leaderboard. I'm stopping at 2 or more. And at some point, it may be a much higher number, but 2 or more recruits to make the leaderboard to have your name called out. But we had a total of 68 new agents for the week. Last week, we had 70 new agents, so we're down a couple on total recruits. But the good news is we had 5 more people recruiting at least 1 person this week than we did the previous week. So that's good that additional people took action, even though we were a couple new agents short. Now, again, if you're taking action and at least having conversations with people, congratulations to you too. It's just a matter of time before you'll be making the leaderboard on our top recruiters and then making the leaderboard on our funding. So before we get into our funding and promotions, I want to remind you, if you haven't seen this yet, we have a recruiting incentive. Recruiting is the lifeblood of our business, and it's very important that you're taking advantage of the agency model and the overrides that David pays us to build and support a team. So this incentive is what's considered auto-engaged. If you're new, you may not even understand what I'm talking about. But if you've been here a little while, you understand that you have to be engaged or have a new client in the past 60 days or a renewal client in the past 60 days to be eligible to earn overrides on your team if you're building a team. Well, David has this recruiting incentive in place. It's called auto-engaged. It means that you're eligible to earn on people that you enroll from May 23rd all the way through the end of this year. Anybody new that you recruit, you're automatically engaged and eligible to earn at least a 25% match on what they do on their first 2 fundings, no matter how far down the road that is, and no matter how far down the road it is for you, whether you're actually engaged according to the comp plan or not, David will pay that out to you. So again, that's up to a 25% minimum on personally enrolled agents. So what would that mean to you income wise? Well, in this example, we're showing $200,000 in fundings and a 3% paid out to the agent that you enrolled, your frontline agent. They would make $6,000, and your 25% match on their revenue would be a $1,500 revenue match paid to you. So that's how that the 25% match would pay you for sharing the DAC opportunity with other people. We don't get paid to recruit. We only get paid when we or the people that we enroll in the business and their organization brings clients to the table. So there's a big incentive there for you to be recruiting. If you are building a business and getting clients on your own and getting what we call amped up, where you've had a client in the past 30 days, then you can actually earn 50% match on those people that you personally enroll. So in that same example, 200,000 in funding times 3%, that agent would have earned 6,000. And if you were their enroller and you were amped up, then you could make a $3,000 match just for bringing them on board as an agent with DAC. I think that's a huge incentive. Another thing, I've been covering this, but we have so many people that aren't able to catch up every single week. If you have had one personal funded client in the past 12 months, you're now qualified for revenue share on your personally enrolled agents. Even if they're outside of the incentive that I just covered, you're eligible for that rolling 12-month as long as you've had a funding. So I think that's a really big deal for those of you that have been in the business for a while. It may have been missing some commissions because you hadn't had a funding, but if you can go back 12 months now and take a look at that. Okay, we got a couple of promotions to DAC 1. What is DAC 1? Well, in the DAC we have two parts of our compensation plan. We have the DAC funding bonuses, and then we have our services, whether it be customer finance, payment processing, DAC healthcare, those services, and now coming on board the ERC, or the employee retention credits, that I'm going to cover here in just a few minutes. When someone gets, and that's going to fall into the funding bonuses, the ERC is. So we've got two parts of the compensation plan: the funding bonuses paid DAC, and the other services paid in our residual plan by our partner company, Longevity. They're the ones cutting the check on those other services. So this piece of the compensation plan, you move up from getting started, you're a DAC 0 because you haven't progressed through the comp plan yet. But to move to DAC 1, you have to have at least one qualified funding, one new client. The qualified funding means that it's at least 6,000 in value to count as a qualified funding. And then you have to have a total funded value of 10,000. So if it's over 10,000 for one client, then that would bump you up to DAC 1. But if you had a client that was 6,000 and it counted as a client, you've got the client, but you wouldn't have the total funded value. So it may take a second client if you have under 10,000 in funded value. In fact, it will, not may. But in this case, we have two people that got promoted to DAC 1 with their first funding, and both of these were over 10,000. So a huge shout out goes to Kashal Bott, had a $75,000 funding for the first funding. That was a nice commission there. And then Rasan Weaver had their first funding for $11,000. Both of those, one funding, promoted them to DAC 1. So congratulations to you both. Harlequin, if you see either of them on here and they want to share a testimonial, that would be awesome. Have you seen either of them join yet?
I don't see them in, but I will also mention that on Kashal's funding, they also got a $55,000 line of credit that they opened up at the same time.
Nice. So a 2-for-1, they got paid on the funding and also got paid on, it was just a $1,000 draw, I believe, right?
Yes.
Right. So what that means is anytime a business gets a line of credit, in this case, 55,000, as Harlequin said, for them to activate that and have access to it, they have to take at least a $1,000 draw to activate that account. And I saw that in the commission spread where they did do a $1,000 draw. Now that client has not only the funding for 75,000, but they also have an additional 55 that they can pull from at any time with that line of credit. So thanks for mentioning that, Harlequin. Very good. Well, if you see either of them pop on, certainly let me know, but we're going to move on through what we have in store tonight. And that is getting you guys prepared for the ERC, Employee Retention Credit, or in some cases, it's known as the ERTC, which is the Employee Retention Tax Credit. We're launching this program. David talked about it today on the leadership call. I'm going to stop share. He talked about it on the leadership call today. He had mentioned it last Tuesday on our Tuesday night product training Zoom. And then we talked about it again on Friday on the agent update, but he went into more detail today. He's been working over the weekend, getting the numbers together and they have narrowed it down. I think on Friday they had it down to a couple of different providers. They went ahead and signed the contract on the deal, and they are moving forward. Now, who is they? Well, Bank Breezy, our funding partner, is the one that has contracted with the ERTC providers, which is a CPA firm. They also have attorneys, tax attorneys involved, so that they're providing the correct support for our clients. I don't have any other details than what I'm sharing with you. So when you go to raise your hand and ask questions, unless it's something that David covered today, or something that I'm covering tonight on the ERC, we're going to have to wait for training, because I really don't have any other information than what I'm sharing right now. So that tax credit is part of the CARES Act, which was created for COVID relief, right? And it is for businesses that were impacted negatively in 2020 and 2021. There are lots of loopholes and lots of details that someone has to be very knowledgeable about to make sure that they're getting the business the credit and making sure that they actually qualify and so on. So David said today that he along with Wade over at our partner at Bank Breezy, the two of them have been talking to different companies over the past several weeks as they were talking about getting into the ERC program and maybe offering that through Bank Breezy. They've both been having many conversations with companies and vetting those different companies to make sure that if DAC gets involved, that the partner that Bank Breezy has picked out is somebody that they want to be in business with. So Bank Breezy was going to move forward with it anyway. That's where David decided to get involved and start having some conversations so that he felt comfortable that if Bank Breezy offered it, that we would want to bring that product in and launch it through David Allen Capital. So I'm really excited that this is coming to fruition. Why am I excited? Well, I learned about this program several months ago. I had heard about it through some of my following of the SBA and different COVID, and a couple of CPAs that I listen to online that are knowledgeable about COVID relief package. But I had a friend of mine reach out several months ago and talk to me about being able to earn commissions if I referred businesses that might possibly be eligible to earn that employee retention tax credit, right? They were going through it and talking about how I could get paid some really big commissions on it. But you know, one thing that stalled me out, other than I really didn't want to take on anything other than DAC, but y'all know I have a couple of businesses. I have DAC, I still have a legal shield agency, and I have a limousine company that really keeps me busy. And I always make time for DAC because this is near and dear to my heart. And this is really my long-term income play with DAC. When I say play, my move, right? So I didn't want to add another company into the mix, but most importantly, when I was introduced the opportunity to market that one single product, they were wanting an upfront fee. And I have been so proud to talk to people about DAC for so long. One, because there's not a startup fee for our agents to get involved, but two, we don't charge any fees up front to the client for any of the services that we offer. So talking with the other company and them saying, yeah, we're going to offer this and we're going to pay you a nice commission, but the customer would have to pay an upfront fee of $2,600. It just didn't sit well with me. I didn't feel comfortable going and talking to business owners and saying, hey, we can look and see if you qualify for this credit. And if you do, you can get back up to $26,000 per employee that you qualify for. But you're going to have to pay $2,600 up front for us to start work on it. So it just kind of felt like a bait and switch to me because I've been so accustomed to offering the free services that we do here at DAC. So I'm super excited that we are adding this to the mix. And that was one of the key things that David was looking for, was that we could offer this service for free to businesses, have the CPA team that we're partnering with be the ones that are going out and doing their due diligence, seeing if the business qualifies. And if they do, then whatever that tax credit is that the business is qualified for, the fee that gets charged to them by the CPA firm that's doing the work will be on the back end. And that fee will be 20% of whatever the tax credit is. The great news for you and I, and David said today, look, I'm talking about this. It's not written in stone. We don't have slides, and I'm not creating slide presentation tonight. I'm just repeating what David said on Leadership Zoom today. The company that qualifies, let's say that they get $500,000 in tax credits back to them. And that is a very realistic number. I've been doing research, and there are billions of dollars getting paid back to people from the federal government through the IRS, these tax rebates that are coming back out. So the money is real. And so a $500,000 example, $500,000 tax rebate would mean that the CPA firm is going to charge 20% of that, right? So 500,000, 20%, they would earn 100,000. The tax firm would. Well, they're going to pay DAC, and out of that money that DAC gets paid, they're going to pay us 4% of that 500,000. So that would be 4% or 20% of the fee, which is $20,000. Okay, and that $20,000 will go to the agent that referred the company that qualified for that $500,000 tax credit. Okay, so 4% is what he's saying the base is going to be, which is 20% of the fee. We get paid 20% of the fee, which actually boils down to 4% of whatever the credit amount is. But I was doing some numbers and some calculating here. I've got my little yellow notepad out. So I want to go through these numbers with you. And this is where you might want to write this down. Again, this is not the final until David says that this is the final compensation, but I just extrapolated the numbers that he shared with us today. So I want to share this with you because we have several of you on here that have been promoted to DAC 1. We have several DAC 2s. We have a few DAC 4s. So let me tell you what your percentages would look like as you move through the compensation plan. David specified today that you can get amped up status by having a new funded client, right? He will not pay double on your personal clients, but you can earn double enroller bonuses. So if you enroll someone, you're at 4% and you're going to make 1% minimum of that credit that gets back to them. So that 25% match. But if you're amped up, then you can earn 2% of the credit that the business receives, which is a 50% match, right? 50% of the 4% that you qualify for. But here's the really exciting part of what I calculated today. If you're a DAC 1 and you are engaged, which means you've had a client in the past 60 days, if you're an engaged DAC 1, you're eligible for a 10% match on your own payout, which means you would earn 4.4% of the tax credit amount if you're an engaged DAC 1. What does it mean to be engaged? Well, you got to be at least, you got to be in the business new in the past 60 days, you're automatically engaged. You have to have a new client of any level. It could be a giggle client, it could be a LOC client. Any new client gets you engaged. You have to have a renewal client, or you can be an AD, or you can have 6 customer finance clients. Those are the 5 ways to be engaged. David mentioned 4, but he forgot if you get AD or above, then you're automatically engaged, right? So those are the 5 ways to be engaged. So if you're an engaged DAC 1, you would make 4.4%. So in that example that I just gave, where the business qualified for 500,000 and the fee is 20,000, 20% or 100,000 there, then you're going to make 4.4% of that tax credit. So 500,000 times 4.4% is what you would get paid off of. If you're a DAC 2, then an engaged DAC 2, you get that extra 15% bonus. So you would actually make 4.6% on your own personal clients. And if you're an engaged DAC4, you get an extra 30% match on your own fundings, as well as overrides on your team. So you would make a 5.2% payout on your own personal ERC client. Man, that is exciting. I'm even more excited because as a DAC AD, I'm going to make 5.4% on my own clients. And I don't think, I've seen several other companies marketing this, some of them in the direct sales, some of them have just partnered with other financial groups. And I haven't seen anybody with a compensation plan that touches what DAC is going to be paying, especially on personal commissions, but then the overrides as well. DAC RDs would make 5.6%, DAC ND would make 5.8%, and an RVP would make 6% on their personal referral. So I really see this as a big way to move on through some of those leadership levels in our compensation plan, and for you guys to take advantage of what I believe is going to be some life-changing income opportunities there. So let's talk about getting prepared for this. We may have this launch live this week. It may be next week. David said that he's got to iron out a couple of things contractually, corporately, to be able to launch this. So once he gets all of that cinched up, then we'll be going live with this. The platform is ready. I think Breezy has everything ready to go, just waiting on that contractual agreement there. So when I say let's get ready for this, I mean we need to go back to recruiting mode. Okay, one would be my first bet is that I'm looking for some sharp people, because this is a time-sensitive promotion that's going on. The COVID CARES relief package is out there. And as long as that money is there are trillions of dollars in this fund. As long as it's there, this will be offered. It's supposed to be going through 2025. But as you may have seen in some of the past SBA offerings and deals that were there, that fund ran out. So it stopped the program. So I think this is going to be a first mover's advantage. And the more people that you have on the street talking about this under your organization, the bigger market share you're going to be able to grab. So think about this. I want you to think about who would be a quality person to bring on board as a DAC agent. One, I want to talk to professionals, people that already have a book of business in the B2B space, whether it is a commercial real estate agent, whether it is a CPA, whether it is a financial advisor. I have several of those clients in my limousine network, and I was going through in my mind earlier today, and I'm going, oh, I need to talk to this one, talk to this one, talk to this one, and ask them, would they be interested in partnering with me and offering the ERC? Because a lot of those people aren't going to want to be an agent, although they might. They might want to just partner where I do the work, I talk to the client, get them through the process, get them started, and then we do a revenue share, right? So lots of options there. But I want you to put your thinking caps on who do you know that would be a great partner in your DAC business? Who would be a good partner, meaning who would make a good agent that would have a book of business already out there? And who do you know in your friend network that is working for a big company? Because those people can be a door opener, getting you to the right person in a big company that has lots of employees to talk to them about the ERC, right? And you don't have to do this on your own. If you will do the legwork, if you'll come up with the people that are going to take a look at this opportunity and talk about partnering with us, and if you get a lead in to where you're getting to someone high up in a company, you don't have to have that conversation yourself. I'll help you, or Harlequin will help you if you're on her team. You've got experienced support folks here that will help you with those conversations, but you've got to be the one that's building the base. That base is recruiting agents or referring agents to, hey, we're going to be involved in the ERC. There's really solid compensation plan here. I believe it's a solid 6, if not 7-figure income opportunity. What does that mean? 6-figure would be in the hundreds of thousands. A 7-figure income would be over $1 million. And I believe that kind of income is here for those of you that want to take advantage of that. Yes, I will repeat that. I believe that there will be people on this team making over $1 million because of the ERC program. I'm serious. So put your thinking caps on of who do you know that would be a good fit partner-wise. And then start thinking about the big companies that you personally know, not just the referral partners, but who do you already know that runs a big business? You know, I think about around me, the HVAC, the roofing company contractors, and all these different relationships that I've built inside my Chamber of Commerce relationship, right? Now I'm just going to launch that, you know, they all know that I'm the money girl and that I'm in the funding space. And now I'm going to launch that, hey, we've got a new product. We've gotten into the employee retention credit. If you have not claimed your credit, or you know someone who has not claimed the up to $26,000 credit per employee, please let them know. I can probably help them get a huge, huge rebate from the IRS. So I want you to start thinking about it today, not waiting until it's launched, because if you're bringing somebody on as a new agent, wouldn't you want to go ahead and get them plugged into the platform and get the basics of what DAC is all about under their belt before the ERC program is launched? That way they're taking some baby steps, getting prepared for the ERC to go, and then they're ready to go full speed ahead. Because what's going to happen is we're going to be talking to business owners that may have already gotten the ERC through another CPA firm, or maybe they didn't qualify for it. Maybe they got it, but they haven't received the money yet and they need some cash. So I think it's going to be a huge opportunity just conversationally to offer the ERC, educate them on the ERC. Our website will do all of that. But in the process, if they need money now, we have that solution for them as well. So I want to pass it back. Harlequin, do you have anything that you want to add to what I've shared before we go to Q&A, or anything in the comments that we need to cover?
Yeah, I don't see anything in the comments other than Shelton already has a question for you before we even got started tonight.
I saw that.
But no, one thing I would like to point out, and yeah, you don't have to go after those huge companies, because to get a $500,000 credit, a company can do that with as few as 20 employees. Let that sink in, people. If you know, a couple of restaurants or a couple of retail stores, or even a couple of offices, or just about anything, that those numbers get big really quickly. I was talking to somebody earlier this evening that he has been in this space, and he said that they're seeing to get $1 million, it's taking typically about 50 employees
For them to get $1 million tax rebate.
Yes.
Right? Awesome.
So extrapolate that, about 25 will get you to 500,000. So, that's something that, I mean, the money is mind boggling.
Woo.
So, yeah. But, just, we don't know yet what the size companies are that we're going to be able to work with. I know a lot of the companies are doing like 10 to 50 or 10 to a couple hundred, but you never know. So we'll know that once David gives, I forgot to ask that question this morning. But yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful opportunity for the business owners, especially. And as a side benefit, we make some pretty decent money too. But yeah, just keep in mind who you know. And we all know people who may have looked into this in the past, but they thought that they didn't qualify because under the old rules, they did not. But with the new rules, they may.
Yeah, and David mentioned on Friday that there are some really big CPA firms and accounting firms out there that are charging some huge percentages. 35 and 40% of the tax credit is their fee. So for us to be offering a fair price in the market and not having an upfront fee fitting in with the DAC model in the first place. I feel tremendously good about going and talking to business owners about it. And if you do the math on that, what we were just sharing, for every employee, there's potentially $1,000 plus that you could earn in commissions if they earn that max tax credit. So good,
Yeah.
good stuff.
Well,
All right.
the other thing I would say is talk to any CPAs or bookkeepers that you know, because some of them, they may have started to do it and they realized how much paperwork is involved. And yeah, some of them are still doing it, but it's taking them hours and hours and hours to do it. And you can go and let them know, hey, look, I realize you might already be doing this, but if you go and take a look at how much time you're spending with each client, is it more advantageous to you to just put them into a system? You don't have to do the work. And yes, you get a smaller amount, but you're still going to get a very nice payoff in doing that. And you would be able to you would be able to offer it to more clients that way. So that's something to keep in mind, because a lot of people in that space are like, I just don't want to deal with this.
Yeah.
Because they also have the liability too.
The liability and not having enough time, because I know my accountant every year in the fall, she's having to go through and do classes and getting recertified and learning all the new rules for the upcoming year. And then it's tax season. At the end of the year, she's got business taxes, quarterly taxes, and so on. So they stay very busy if they have a large business clientele. The other thing on that is what Harlequin was saying about how many employees, it can add up. It can be a franchise that has a few employees here and a few employees here and a few employees here in multiple locations. I talked to one of my friends that is doing the ERC with that other company. He's the one that shared it with me. And he has a friend that found a guy that has a few restaurants and several different locations. Has turned into a really nice commission for the agent that was responsible for sharing that. How about car dealerships where there are lots and lots of employees there? So the sky is the limit on what we can do. But again, this will be launched and we'll go through the training. I don't want you out there, or I wouldn't recommend you being out there talking about the program and not knowing fully what it is. But just be making your list right now. Be making your contact list, because if you start talking to them about it, then they may be out researching it, as David made point today with Eric Brooks' question. They may be out researching because you may have opened the door to something they're not even aware of. So if you're talking to them about it before we launch and can't get them through that funnel, they may start researching and find another company and go ahead and move forward with another company that's offering to do the ERC program. So don't be talking until it's launched, but you certainly can be to potential agents that are in potentially that space to be able to open that and market into a market that they've already got access to in the B2B space. So looking forward for that. All right, let's go to some questions now. I have Ray with a hand up here. If you can unmute, Ray, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, Ellen, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah,
What
I
you
have a
got for us?
question. Yeah, when you was explaining the example about the earned tax credit, the 500,000, and so you said that according to your calculations, DAC will get 20%. So is that what they'll send to DAC, and then once DAC receive that, we in turn would get, as the agents, we will get the 4% out of that?
No. Okay, good question. So if the business qualifies for 500,000 in credit, their fee that the business is going to have to pay to the CPA firm is 20%. So the CPA firm gets 20%. DAC is going to pay you the referring agent 20% of that fee. So that 20% of the 20% boils down to us as agents earning a base commission of 4% of whatever the tax credit is. So the tax credit of 500,000, 4% of that would be 200,000, or 20,000 that gets paid back to the agent.
Oh, so we will get the 20,000.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I was just trying to understand the breakdown.
So figure
Okay.
4% as a bare minimum. On average, David said, you know, if it's a huge account with a huge credit dollar wise, they may have to do some reduced funded value and stuff, as we always do on larger things. But just figure that instead of 3% like you get on fundings, this is going to pay a base of 4%, and then you can earn the additional overrides as DAC 1, DAC 2, 4, AD, etc.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for the question. Thanks for the clarification.
You're welcome.
All right, Shelton, you got your hand up. What you got tonight?
A couple questions. One on this, and then one on a totally different thing real quick. On this, would this be something that you would say would be a good idea for even like chain restaurants where they have their own owners, such as Firehouse Subs, places like that, where they basically, there's an owner of that franchise section, that's, and hotel owners, because I know a few owners of hotels. So would that be good on those? That's the first question.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anybody that's going to meet the qualifications with number of employees, where they got to have 3 or more employees, and where they took a hit according to the regulations 2020 and 2021. There will be a simple Q&A on our website once that page gets launched. But yeah, those I think would be great resources for you to at least have a conversation with. And
Okay.
when we do the training, Shelton, you know, David's going to go through sample explanation of a script and kind of pre-qualifying questions too.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. The other one is, and this has to do with what I was referring to earlier today, and you said something about the dental and eye. That, did I hear that right? The supplemental. So that means you have to get the medical, and then that's where the supplemental comes in. Is that correct?
That is correct. Those supplemental plans are on top of the health plans that are there. So it can be the base plan, which is their lowest cost. I forget, I actually have that plan. It's the plus plan, I think.
Actually,
Right, they've got
Ellen,
3
I've
different
heard
ones.
I've heard rumor that you can get those separate. the
Okay.
dental and vision. So we'll need to look into that a little bit further.
I'll
Okay.
follow David's lead on that and call them directly as well, like he said, because
Yeah.
I'm looking at it for myself as well. So
Yeah, I say that because I went through the brochure this afternoon. After I pointed that out to Shelton, I went through and read that brochure, and it
Okay.
said that it was an add-on to the health plans. But I have located the video where Scott Fardulas does an in-depth training on that. It's on someone else's page, so I'm not going to share that. Apparently, this person has uploaded it to a website that they built, but I just need to figure out how to be able to download that video, and then I'll put it in my YouTube channel, because Scott created that for anybody in the longevity DAC plan to be able to watch. So I'll get that downloaded and uploaded it into Vimeo and make it available to you guys when I do that.
okay, and one last thing I just thought about. You're talking about like if it's a bigger funding on this thing that's coming out, that they may have to charge less, like we. Am I right? David did say though, even if they did charge less, we would still be looking at a 4%. And on that, was that correct? What I heard earlier this morning?
Not 100%. If it has to be a negotiated, well, actually, it will be 4% of a negotiated fee that may be a reduced value. That's how he calculates.
Okay.
He wouldn't pay you like 3.7. He would pay you 4%, but it may be a reduced fee of the fund. They may change the funded
Actually,
value.
Ellen,
Mhm.
he said they can potentially lower it. He said from 20%, he said probably the lowest they would go would be 17%, but we still get 20% of whatever the amount is that the client or that is charged.
There you go. So it at 17%.
So it may
would
be less than
3.4.
4.
All right,
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that, Harlequin. You're correct. I didn't see that in my notes, but thanks for remembering that. Okay, we have Sergio. What do you have for us tonight?
Can you hear me, Ellen?
I can.
You can? Okay, great. Listen, I've got a question about the compensation plan. Okay, so like I told you last week, I'm just kind of starting out with this. And so in order to advance, like the DAC one, you said 10,000. Like if I were to get a funding for $20,000, that would automatically promote me to DAC one.
It would.
Right? Well, actually, and then if I got another funding of any amount, since I got the 20,000 on the first one, if I got a second funding of any amount, that would promote me to DAC 2.
As long as it is a qualified client, which means that that funded value has to be at least 6,000. So because DAC 2, you have to have 2 qualified clients and at least 20,000 in funded value. So yes, but it would have to be a qualified client with a minimum of 6,000 in funding.
Oh, okay. All right. And then the same thing with DAC 4 qualified clients and a minimum of 40,000.
Correct. New
Okay.
new qualified clients. Yes.
You qualified clients.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I wasn't sure about that. So potentially one can become a DAC 4 in 1 month if you got 4 clients, say at even 10,000 each.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Jebecca Jones, I don't know if he's on here tonight, but he went through the ranks really quickly and may have been within like a 30-day window. Harlequin may know that, but yeah,
Okay.
it absolutely can be done.
Okay. And then second, I told you last week that I kind of stumbled into David Allen Capital kind of by accident, right? And so I was kind of placed under just somebody randomly in the company, I guess. And so these recordings for this team, do they just go out to the people that are in your team specifically? Because I'm not in your team, unless you
No,
guys want to.
I put them on my YouTube channel. So you can find these replays on, if you go to YouTube, youtube.ellenwinn.link, that goes straight over to my YouTube channel.
ellenwinn.link.
You got it. youtube.ellenwinn.link.
Okay. All right. And then on the ERC credit, this is the last one because I know you've got some other questions. On
Sure.
the ERC, we still get the same overrides from somebody that we enroll?
We do, yeah. So if you're at DAC
550?
4 and you're at that 30% override and you have someone gets an ERC credit where this is their first funding and they're not a DAC 1 at all, you would get a 30% match on their revenue. You get a 30% match on their 4%. So essentially you would get 1.2% of whatever that credit amount was.
Okay. If you were a DAC 4.
Yep.
Okay. All right. And do you guys want to adopt me? I'm like an orphan child
We
here.
already have. You're joining us on our live Zoom and you're welcome anytime. Thank you for your
Okay.
questions.
All right. Thank you, Ellen.
Yeah, you bet. All
All
right.
right.
Eric, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, how are you doing, Ellen?
I'm doing great. What you
Hey,
got?
I saw that you mentioned my question earlier today. Yeah, I wasn't going to actually just start actually promoting yet. I mean, I just have people that I know personally. That's what I was going to do, like my friends, and just let them know that are business owners. I have friends that are business owners. So, I mean, they wouldn't undercut me like that. So that's what I was just saying, if it was okay if we did that. But I wasn't going to promote it. I mean, until it actually launched, like to people I didn't know. But yeah, I did tell a few of my friends about it, and they're like, "Oh, okay." My one friend said she got it already. I don't know if that's the case or not, but I was just like, "All right, whatever." I'm just letting you know, just giving you a heads up, so in case you need it. But anyway, I just wanted to ask: is that only? I mean, I have another friend that's a business owner, but he has an LLC, but he's a consultant, but he's by himself. But he doesn't have any employees. Like, would he qualify for that?
No, he would not. I don't
Okay.
qualify with my limousine business because I don't have employees.
Oh,
I,
okay.
I use independent contractors only, and I'm the only employee of the company. So no, you have to have, I believe it's 3 or more employees to qualify.
Oh,
And
okay.
W-2 employees working 30 hours or more a week. But they'll roll out the minimum qualifications on that, but that person would not qualify now.
Okay. That's all I had.
Great. Good to see you.
Ellen?
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
Is a different program for self-employed people that they do a type of credit. It's very difficult to figure it out. It's if you were an employee, if you were out due to COVID, I think it's form 7202 in the IRS. So you can look that up. It's not something that we're going to be doing, but if you as a business owner want to try and see if you can qualify for a tax credit, you can go to the IRS.gov website and look it up.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you. I
Mhm.
appreciate it.
All right, I have Minister Ron Peterson. How are you tonight?
Fantastic, Ellen. Good, good. It's good to be at your Monday evening meetings. My first came on board a couple of weeks ago.
Awesome.
My question towards the ERTC at this particular point, I submitted two funding for lines of credit. One, I received an email saying that they didn't get it, of course. And the second, I have not heard anything. So how do I know where it's at in the process?
Well, you just want to follow the email communication that you got. And then have you located the quick reference guide in the Agent Resource Center?
I don't believe I did. I'll look in my downloads. I started downloading a bunch of stuff. So
Okay,
yeah.
let me point you towards that, because lots of other folks on here are probably wondering the same. So if you go to the Agent Resource Center, you got your big green 1, 2, 3 at the top of the page,
Right.
your required trainings, right?
Mhm.
And then the first section below that is business capital lines of credit. Number 1 under that heading is a quick reference guide. There's a PDF there. It's about 5 pages. And if you'll pull that up, you can either save that link, which will always be updated if you just save the link, or you can download it and print it out. Just make sure you check for updates on it. Go to the line of credit section, and it lays out the detailed communication process. So you can compare that to the last email that you received on lines of credit and know where you are in process. But essentially, if you've not heard anything else, if they have it out to bid right now, they're waiting to get their best offers back. And sometimes a line of credit is going to take a few extra days above a funding. In fact, it may take up to a couple of weeks. Is that right, Harlequin?
Yeah, I think for a while there, they were a little bit behind. It's usually it can be up to a week usually, but they've been pretty quick lately. The last couple of ones that I've seen, they've done it in like 2 or 3 days.
Good, good. And
Okay.
that's just that new system, new process coming through that they have speeded up what was taking place prior. So does that make sense for you to be able to go back and compare those?
Yes,
communication notes there?
that makes sense. I was going to wait till after this meeting and call the client tomorrow anyway. So I said, well, let me wait till after the meeting to begin to track it on my own. Then I'll call the client tomorrow to see that he hear anything
Awesome.
back from me. The other one, the reject was pretty fast. So, so I saw that, but I figured, well, maybe it's going through another process where it's going to take a little longer and he's going to be accepted.
Yeah, it's real easy to do a reject if they look at the FICO score and they look at the financials and time in business. It's really easy to disqualify someone. When they do qualify and they meet the minimum requirements, then it takes a little bit longer to get those out to bid. So great, congratulations on getting a couple of folks through the process. Hopefully that second one will come through for you.
Fantastic. Looking forward to getting more through the process as well.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thanks for your question. All right, I have iPhone Bruce. Hey, Bruce Campbell, how are you tonight?
Hi. Hi.
I'm not hearing you. Your audio is breaking up. Can't hear you at all, Bruce. Can't hear you at all. You want to type your question in the chat maybe, because your phone is like breaking up. I don't know if you're on it. It looks like you're on a phone since it says iPhone. Maybe you're in a bad cell zone.
Great,
It's not coming
thank you.
through.
And I'm really so
There
happy
you are.
that
Okay,
you
wait
hear
a
me
minute.
now.
Let's start over. I can hear you now, and I'm just now starting to hear you. So start from the beginning, okay? Bruce? Not working.
Hear me now? Hello, Ellen.
I heard that. And I think we just lost Bruce altogether. Okay, any other questions? Harlequin, look for him if he pops anything. Yeah, somebody's asking for my email address. Best email is just workwithellen@gmail.com.
Yeah, and Kemba, you have it incorrect in there.
Yeah, it's ellen@workwithdac.com.
Can you hear me, Ellen?
There you are. Let's try one more time. No, I can't hear you, Bruce.
Okay, I'll have to text you. I'll text in my questions to you. Just really needed to know your YouTube channel address again.
I heard something. What address again?
It's youtube.ellenwin.link. I'll type it in there
Awesome.
because I did hear that question, Bruce.
Yeah, that it came through just long enough for that to say, I'll text you my questions. Okay, and Sergio has your hand back up. I'm gonna go to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I forgot to ask one question.
you.
Somewhere either in the back office or on one of the videos or presentations, PDFs, I saw a graphic that had the questions that are asked when somebody fills out the application for funding, right? The basic application, the one that's got my name on the bottom as a referring agent.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody fills that out and then they go to a next page that asks them, what was the least amount of money you made in a month, or those questions, where can I find that list of questions?
They're actually in the business presentation. The business opportunity presentation that I went through on Tuesday night has those. So they're basically asking, are you operating through a business or personal checking account? How much revenue have you done? And it gives them some choices, right? And then it asks them, are they looking for funding or loan or line of credit or both? Those are the main three questions. I think there may be one that asks them for what their FICO score is. Because they're going to get redirected to a different lender based on what their credit score is.
Okay, is that shown anywhere on any PDF? I'd like to see if I can get a screenshot of that to send it to a business that wants to know what all they got to fill out.
Yeah, it's on that quick reference guide that I was
reference guide.
Yep, it's on there. It shows the qualifications for each one, and I don't know, Harlequin, maybe you can look at that and see while we're talking if it's on there, those specific
Yeah, it had
questions.
like little boxes. It had like a box and then another box and then another box with the questions. And it's got, I think, drop downs on each one.
Yeah. If you're wanting to do that, are you wanting the images of it?
Yeah, the images.
Okay. So do you use a Mac or would you use PowerPoint?
No, it's a PC.
Okay. So in the Agent Resource Center, David has loaded the presentation slides that I just went through on Tuesday night's presentation. So you can see them there. He has it in, I forget what they call it. It's either PowerPoint or I forget what the Mac version is. Anyway, you don't need that since you have PowerPoint.
Okay,
so you just
perfect.
open that up and you'll find those slides if you just download it and scroll through those different pages.
Perfect. Thank you, Ellen.
You
Appreciate it.
bet. All right, and Shelton's got his hand back up. Ask you to unmute.
I just want, hello, I just wanted to add something real quick for Sergio as well. There's, if you go through the Super Saturday, which I went through, and for a 6.5 hour video, I actually took about 3 days because all the notes I took, there's a way better breakdown even of it where you can make your own notes. And I'm actually making my own PowerPoint. That's what I'm doing for reference guide and to show people, but it has a way better breakdown in that Super Saturday for the line of credit, more specifically towards A paper lenders, B paper, C and D paper lenders. I just wanted to put that little 2 cents worth in there.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you,
And
Sheldon.
some of the things in that Super Saturday are going to be a little bit dated time-wise from what we're currently doing today. So that's great recommendation there, Shelton, but make sure you're looking at the updated versions of Bank Breezy and our product line there that we have today versus when we did the Super Saturday. Because that Super Saturday, gosh, what month was that? Back in March, maybe? Let's see. No, we did that in June. No, July. Super Saturday, July. So it's been a while. All right. Do we have any other questions?
Nope, we don't have any more in the
We
chat.
don't.
And one thing something that came up this week, and just as a reminder for everybody, somebody was using the bankbreezy.com website. Do not use that. Do not use that. Do not use that. You need to go to the davidallencapital.com/gig funding /your ID number. Because that bankbreezy.com website is going to be going away. And that's only if you're specifically targeting those lower income businesses. Ellen and I always prefer to use the davidallencapital.com /business-capital /your ID, or buy a domain name because it's a whole lot easier.
Yeah,
And have it
that's
forwarded to
definitely
that.
needed. Yeah, I don't use the gig funding page at all. I think a gig worker is still going to fill out the form on the business capital page, but a larger business may not fill out the form on the gig funding page, if that makes any sense. So I never lead with that.
Yeah.
Good comments. Anything left in the chat that we're missing before we go?
Nothing in there.
Okay. This video will be uploaded tonight. The one from this morning is already live, but the secret there on YouTube is if you will follow or sign up for notification or subscribe, YouTube calls it subscribe to our channels, and then hit the bell so that you get notifications. Even though the rendering may not be available for several hours or the next day, sometimes on the DAC channel or on my channel, if you are receiving notifications, you can go up to the little notification bell when you log into YouTube, and you'll see all of those notifications immediately. So that's the fastest way to see a video that has been uploaded to YouTube that may not be streaming live publicly yet. So that would be my recommendation, but we'll get those out tonight, okay? All right, everyone, thank you so much for your time tonight. Appreciate you spending Monday evening with us. We'll look forward to seeing you on Fridays, DAC Zoom at daczoom.com. That's at 11:30 Eastern time, unless we hear an announcement from David that we have an impromptu training popping up, and hopefully that'll be the case, that we'll hear something before Friday. All right, guys. Thanks again. Y'all have a blessed evening and a wonderful rest of the week. We'll see you on Friday. Take care. Have a good night.